Hey trappers, this is just to show you the configuration of the SpringLeaf. Now I invented this thing about 3 or 4 years ago. I just gotten out of the Army. I hadn't trapped in years, and I was running a fox and coyote trap line, but I had read about bottom edge sets, and I was driving by a culvert, and those flanges that come off the culvert. I'll show you that a little bit later. Through the videos that are going to follow, you'll see that set anyway. So maybe I won't demonstrate that today. But the flanges that go up from culverts, those concrete culverts, or they can be metal too. Well, I was driving by one in a drainage ditch on my canine line, and I kept thinking, man, that's got to be a good set. That's kind of a bottom edge. So I got a little bracket and I put it on a brick. You know how you do it, but it was way too deep. I got it set, but way past my shoulder, and got my hands wet. You know how that sucks when you get water in your gauntlets and it's cold out and your hands are cold. Well, I caught a mink the first night. So then I started looking all along my line, and I wanted to put them on all the flanges, the culvert flanges on my line, but they were all too deep. I couldn't reach down there. And so then I just kept thinking about how I could do that. Then one day it just occurred to me that if I just take a piece of sheet metal and slide it in between the ring like this, or between the springs coils, that and I got a demonstration for this. You've probably already seen it already. That would solve the problem, and it works out perfect, man. So now there's many different ways to use this configuration, and that's what we're doing here today. So the first thing I will show you is that here you've got a 110, right? And you want to do, say, a pocket set for mink. And we're just going to use this as a bank, to say this is the bank. And you dig your hole about right here, got your pocket, or you can put it underwater too. Put this right over and just shove this blade in the bank. I've caught a lot of rats and a few mink doing this. Just shove it in the bank, and then you got your pocket set right there with your trap covered. Also, what if you want to set a rat run? Just go ahead and say this is the run. This is the rat run. All you gotta do is set it out here, drop it in the run, and even if it falls over a little bit like this, that's still good if it's a little short. But I'm just using these as an example. Just set it like that. There you go. It's stabilized. Okay. And then it works good. I've done this a lot too. So what if I have a 220 and I got or say a 330. I'm not going to demonstrate with a 330 today because the 220 is the same thing. So what if I want to set the beaver run, right? All I got to do is I can take the first time. I'll show you how I set it, but you can take a couple hooks like this. Say I'm standing on the ice and I got a beaver run, and say it's in 5 feet of water or whatever, and I want to drop it down there. The beavers are just like rats; they'll hook the bottom, right? So you just take this, lower it all the way down into the run. Take this, push it down, and it's going to stay stable right there. All right, that's another way to set and run. So you can do that with a 330. Now, what if I'm setting for raccoons, and I'm just setting trails, along ditches or something, and I'm long lining coons? All right, all I got to do. Sorry, this thing snapped on me. It must be the same one I was using for the otter. So say I want to set right near here, I caught an otter doing this a few years ago. There's a bridge underneath in a drainage ditch where I knew otter were running through. So what I did is I just took a couple 220s on each side of the bridge. The water was all, say, about yay deep, about like this. And I just made a bottom edge set with my 220 like this. And I don't know, it took me about 3 or 4 weeks, but I finally got one otter out of that doing that. But I've got a couple otters doing bottom edge sets in certain places. You can catch them in bottom edge sets, and I've done it a few times. And then also you can do a pocket set too with this. Put both blades in there just like that, cover the pocket. If you want to like raccoons and stuff, like that I showed you already, just drop it in the set. You can adjust the height any way you want, all the way down. And then, let me see, if you need to put, like, if you want to put a nail in it, you just drive nails right through it if you want it. If you want to bend it over, you can bend it over. Okay, so what if I want to make a bottom edge set, but I got a rock or something that's in the way? All right, so all I got to do, I want to make a bottom edge set, you know, stick it right there. Well, I can't get this rock is in the way, and it's where I want to set it. So all I got to do is put one side on the rock like that. I can just bend the other side down. And there you go. Nice and stable, just like that. All right, so in any situation, I have not found a situation yet where this hasn't worked. What if I want to set, now I need to show you how I set it in deep water. Okay, so here's what, the first year that I did this, now I know what you guys are going to say, well, I can just cut these out of tin, I can make these self myself. Well, try cutting a half a dozen of these with a pair of tin shears in tin, and then what you got is you got a blade around, you got points, and you have a blade on the end of your trap. Cutting through your gloves all the time. I cut my fingers so many times the first year because I just cut them out of tin, and I was always afraid if it went off I was going to slip my wrist. And then for the price of metal, by the time you go through all the effort and cutting them up, you're just better off buying them from me anyway. And they're in better shape. These are steel instead of tin. And I got the edges around and everything. Okay, so now if this is a bottom edge, say this is a bridge abutment or a flange coming off of a big culvert in a drainage ditch, right? Well, the first year I did it, I just took some heavy gauge wire like this. I think this is 9 gauge, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really good with wire and stuff. But what I did was, okay, many times I was sitting in water, 4 or 5. I caught rats and muskrat up to 6 feet of water. And actually, I can't really demonstrate with that one, so let's do this one quick. Let me reset this one. It doesn't have a wire on it. Well, I won't be able to demonstrate with that one. All right, well, okay, so here's one. Maybe I'll just show you this. It's a little off track, but I wanted to do a pan. Now, I've seen a lot of people use a lot of things for pans. I've seen them made out of wood. I've seen them made out of corrugated plastic and things like that, right? But one day I just got the idea to use this hardware cloth. See if I can get this set, right? So I did this hardware cloth. I put it on my 330s. I've got beaver doing it and everything else. So all you gotta do is I just bent over my trigger in a T like that. Then I took the sheet metal, I just folded it in half, and then I wired it to the T, and then all I can do is shove it down. Flat, straight down flat like this, and then bend it over a little bit. And you got yourself a nice little pan. And I've also, you want to trap rats with a 110 in rat huts? Dig your hole in the rat hut, smear a little peanut butter on here, set it in the rat hut. They come in for that peanut butter. You can make double catches sometimes. Done. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate how I set it in deep water. Okay, well first, the trap's set, of course, and you got a few feet of wire on it because you're going to need that to control the trap. Now, just say I'm standing behind. Say this is a big culvert, drops down maybe 3-4 feet of water there, or it's a bridge abutment or whatever. I've done it both ways with bridge abutments. What I do then, what you do first, lay it down on the surface, make sure it's good and flat like this. Then you just pick it up like this. Now let me do this. You pick her up, and I want you to look. I have it behind the trigger. If you put it in front of the trigger, you're not going to be able to get it close enough to the edge. And I very rarely set one off doing this. So then what I do is then I just lower it down. Just lower it all the way down to the bottom, like this. Drop it on the bottom. Then I just move it forward until it touches. Maybe sometimes you might reach down there and maybe you want to just a little bit, and there you go. And now this will work on any surface. It can be gravel, it can be concrete, it can be metal, it can be dirt, it can be anything, and it just doesn't matter because it's just sitting there. And then and then the wire I just tie off on the edge, up here on the edge. Okay? So I'd have maybe put a stake, or if there's a branch or tree or something up there, or something, I'll just wire it off up there. So it'll be sitting on top here like this, and then it'll be sitting something like this. When you wire it on top, it'll be sitting in the water, something like this. I've caught a lot of mink and muskrat doing this, and it works really, really good. So now we demonstrated pocket set, trail set, bottom edge set, one other thing, and the run set. The other thing that I did is put these holes in here. I want to show right here. These holes right here. These I put in there for nails, but I'm not putting in the future because you can just drive a nail anywhere through here. It won't hurt it, and you can continue. These things remain permanently attached to your trap forever. You don't have to haul in extra stuff, especially if you're backpacking in for beaver or something. This makes it so much easier.
All right, so I'm just going to demonstrate you how to make a marten or fisher set. Sometimes you have to be off the ground. So I put a screw in there, right? Hung it on the holes there. Now all I got to do is bring it, wrap it around here, and then put another screw in. Now you can use nails and a hammer if you wanted. Do the same thing. There you go, it's hanging. Now, normally you have to wire one jaw, so every time you catch, you have to clip the wire, and you're wasting a lot of time remaking your set. This thing goes off. You catch something, you have your chain wire to the tree, and you put some spruce boughs, put some bait up here, put some spruce boughs, or one of those corrugated signs, where the plastic corrugated, you can fold those over. That works really good too for these types of sets. But I'm not going to demonstrate the set because I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Most of you guys are trappers, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to waste your time. So then if it goes off, there it goes. It comes off there. But when you want to remake the set, all you got to do is quickly set the trap and hang it up again, and you're done. I'm not going to set the trap because I don't want, because it's not worth, it's not worth the time. You guys know what I'm talking about. So that's how that works.
Okay, before we get going, there's one thing I want to show you. Okay, I showed you that the first year that I used this wire, which is really handy, to do the bottom edge set in deep water, which is really handy if you're going to backcountry. The wire is, because you can just fold it up, like this, and stick it in your back pocket or something. That's what I used to do. I used to fold up, stick it in my back pocket, or stick it in my cargo pockets, and then when I was running around checking my sets, I had it ready. But then I have this made, which is a little bit better. You can make one out of rod stuff. You just got to make a hook or whatever, and then I can push down on it and move it around better. But this is what I use now. You just pick it up like this. I could set this one like this with the bottom edge set too. If I just wanted to push if I wanted to push this end up, put this end down, get it flat, and then I can put a 120 in the bottom edge set too, just like that. Yeah. Might want to level that out, but sometimes you can bend them a little bit if they're not sitting perfectly right. Just bend them a little bit, but there you go. So you can use this in the bottom edge too. And I caught them just doing this. They'll go through there, they'll bump in here, won't be big enough to go wide, then they'll just go through. So that's the way that works. Now, let's just bump on over here. Say this is a culvert. Some states you can set in culverts, some states you can't. In South Dakota you can, in Minnesota you cannot. In some case, unless it's fully submerged or something, I don't know. But all you gotta do is stick it in here. If you got a culvert, push it like that, and there you go. There it is. If you want to set in a culvert, now you can do, if it's bigger culverts, you can use bigger traps. You can put it further in or further out, but in any case, that's not going anywhere. And then the springs actually block it off to force them through there. So it can be used in the culverts as well. It's just very easy.